What's up, Taiwan? I'm Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. SEAL Team 6, the U.S. Navy unit known for killing Osama bin Laden in 2011, is preparing for a possible conflict between China and Taiwan. That's according to an exclusive report by the Financial Times. Reese Ayers is live for us in Taipei with the details. Reese, what's in that report?
Well, it's news that will be quite encouraging to many in Taiwan. US Navy SEAL Team 6 have quite the formidable reputation among the most elite in the US military and across the world. As you mentioned, Leslie, they famously took out bin Laden in 2011 and also operated a tense rescue operation in 2009 involving Somali pirates. And now, the Financial Times reports, they've been training for over a year for a possible Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Now, the training's been taking place at their headquarters in Virginia, which is 250 kilometers southeast of the US capital. The report doesn't reveal too many details about exactly what that training involves, but a spokesperson from the US's Special Operations Command has said that its forces prepare and train for a wide range of contingencies. What we do know is that SEAL Team 6 does missions in places that few others would venture, often going behind enemy lines and searching for key targets. Now, the US's position has long been that it will provide Taiwan with everything that it needs to defend itself, but its official line says that it falls short of actually intervening in the event of a conflict between China and Taiwan. And while these preparations are still no guarantee that the US would jump in, they are likely to give Beijing some pause and force them to reconsider the potential costs of an attempted invasion of Taiwan.
Well, thank you for that, Reese. That was Reese Ayers reporting live for us from Taipei. The military has confirmed that engine failure is to blame for the crash of a fighter jet at sea on Tuesday night. The Air Force is now looking into what caused the jet to lose power mid-air. Jaime Ocon has the latest.
This is the moment Air Force pilot Captain Xie Beixun is pulled out of the water and rescued by the Coast Guard. Late on Tuesday, Xie was flying a Mirage 2000 fighter jet during a training exercise when his aircraft lost power and crashed into the ocean in northeastern Taiwan. Air Force officials said the pilot had roughly 1 minute to decide whether he could save the plane or eject. The military is now confirming the aircraft's engine suffered a malfunction and lost thrust before crashing. The Air Force says an initial check before the flight revealed no problems. It is now conducting a more in-depth investigation to figure out what caused the engine failure.
这个是要非常专业的飞安的实质调查不管是环境或者机械，甚至人员的因素，我们都不排除。
The military has since grounded its entire fleet of French-made Mirage 2000 aircraft until further inspection of the other jets. Taiwan originally had 60 of the fighter jets delivered in 1997, but over the years, at least 7 of the aircraft have been lost due to accidents. Taiwan currently has roughly 400 fighter aircraft in service, and officials say that grounding the Mirage fleet shouldn't limit its ability to protect the country.
北中南东我们都有相关的部队在24小时的做轮值战行，对我们空军的战力短时间不会有形成压力跟影响。
Much of the debate around the aircraft incident has revolved around the price of maintaining the Mirage 2000 fleet, as it costs almost triple the amount to fly compared to other fighter jets in Taiwan's arsenal like the US-made F-16. Some analysts now question whether the military should be downsizing the Mirage fleet, especially given the rise in threat from China, which seeks to take Taiwan by force if necessary.
因为中国的确对台湾是威胁，那台湾的这个 maintain 的cost 也增加了，可是还在可以承受范围，可以评估的就是把这个 Mirage Free 变成30架。 这样子可以在这个效率跟这个成本上面保持一个平衡。
Taiwan's Air Force told TaiwanPlus that there's no plans to downsize the current fleet of Mirage 2000 fighter jets. Instead, they say they're prioritizing the current investigation to understand how one of their aircraft could suddenly lose power. Howard Zhang and Jaime Ocon for TaiwanPlus.
In related news, the Defense Ministry says it's detected 29 Chinese military aircraft and 8 naval vessels around Taiwan within a 24-hour period. 14 of the aircraft crossed the median line between the two countries, while 20 entered Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ. This is not Taiwan's sovereign territory, but is used as a defensive buffer. The incursion comes as 2 German warships are expected to transit through the Taiwan Strait. How can Taiwan protect itself against China? That's the question being discussed in Taipei at a forum on security. Tiffany Wong is there.
The annual Taipei Security Dialogue is bringing together international leaders and experts to discuss the Asia-Pacific's biggest topic, China's threat to Taiwan. Former U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Kelly Craft, gave a keynote speech praising Taiwan's commitment to democracy in contrast to China.
Beijing wants the world to believe that freedom and Chinese culture are incompatible. The Chinese people value order over liberty and prosperity over democracy. Taiwan is showing the world that democracy is the path to prosperity, that when freedom and Chinese culture mix, they produce a kind of dynamic, prosperous civilization we see here today.
During her time as ambassador to the UN, Craft had met with Taiwan's former president, Tsai Ing-wen, and also advocated for Taiwan's inclusion in the UN. She was later sanctioned by Beijing for doing so. With U.S. elections looming, Craft, who was appointed by former U.S. President Donald Trump, also offered her advice on what a potential second Trump presidency could look like.
The secret to getting along with Donald Trump is doing your part and carrying your weight. If you're willing to do that, he will be the most reliable friend and ally you can imagine.
Craft stressed the importance of Taiwan's self-reliance, strengthening its defense capabilities, increasing military personnel, and improving training, in line with Trump's stance on the U.S.-Taiwan partnership. With only 2 months left before the U.S. presidential elections, Taiwan will be eagerly awaiting to find out who will be leading its biggest unofficial ally. Klein Wong and Tiffany Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan President Lai Ching-te has spoken at an event commemorating the 60th anniversary of a key moment in Taiwan's democratization.
50年前，伫迄个专制独裁戒严的乌暗年代，咱所敬爱的平民教授，唔惊生命危险，发表台湾人民自救运动宣言，这是一个非常伟大的行动，咱嘛深深影响后来台湾的民主的发展。
Authorities arrested political science professor Peng Mingmin alongside 2 of his students in September 1964 for attempting to distribute a democratic manifesto. Peng escaped Taiwan in 1970, living in exile for over 2 decades. Although Peng died in 2022, he remains a symbol of Taiwan's democracy movement and continued pushes for transitional justice. The government is reacting with suspicion to China's sudden lifting of a ban on Taiwanese citrus fruit. President Lai Ching-te says there are ulterior motives behind the move and that it won't lead to greater trust with Beijing. John Van Trieste has more.
For these farmers, recent news out of Beijing is cause for celebration. China is partly lifting an import ban on pomelos from Taiwan. The large citrus fruit is a favorite in both China and Taiwan as summer turns to autumn. Before the ban, China was Taiwan's biggest market, buying several thousand tons of the fruit every year. The sudden ban in 2022, supposedly due to pesticides and quarantine issues, left farmers with a ruinous glut. Now, fruit grown in Hualien County on the East Coast will be allowed back in. But academics, China watchers, and officials here in Taiwan are wary. Pomelos aren't the only product subject to sudden bans. They see a pattern, a carrot-and-stick policy meant to reinforce China's claim to Taiwan and use money to keep Taiwan in line. The pomelo ban came as then U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan, a trip that enraged Beijing. And the partial lifting of the ban comes at a time when there are quarantine reasons to keep it in place. 48% of this year's crop sampled has failed inspections for issues like bugs, prompting Hualien's government to step in.
防检署就没有发出检疫证明书，那原则上就是不得输往中国。输往中国的是完全没有检出任何病虫害。
2次的处理之后，绝大部分已经合格，已经出口到对岸去，都会积极的想方设法来做好我们检疫的工作。
There's also suspicion about the fact that only Hualien is covered. Unlike the other major growing region in the south, Hualien's a stronghold for the KMT, a party China's been willing to sit down with in the past. Fu Kunqi, a big KMT figure from Hualien, even visited Beijing earlier this year. President Lai Ching-te is among those with suspicions. He told a meeting of his Democratic Progressive Party that China made the announcement unilaterally. He says Beijing bypassed the platform for talks about quarantine issues and didn't consult or tell Taiwan in advance.
中国利用特殊化经贸往来作为分化台湾的工具，反而不利于建立台海的往来互信以及促进区域的稳定繁荣。
China's Taiwan Affairs Office has presented the move as a show of goodwill, saying it will work for the benefit of Taiwan's people. But in Taiwan itself, that hasn't stopped skepticism about China's motives and what China hopes the partial lifting of the ban might achieve. James Lin and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
In international news, North Korea fired multiple short-range ballistic missiles on Thursday morning. South Korea says it detected the missiles before they landed in the sea between the Korean peninsula and Japan. Analysts in Seoul say the flight distance suggests they were designed to attack targets in the south. This is Pyongyang's 10th missile launch this year and comes days after leader Kim Jong-un vowed to bolster his nuclear force to combat the United States and its allies. In China, innovators are racing to make drones for everyday consumers. That's everything from food deliveries to flying taxis. The global superpower is locked in a tech war with the United States and is holding on to its upper hand in this particular industry. Joyce Zeng has more.
Getting a package from the sky is no longer a far-fetched idea in China, where tech entrepreneurs have been flying new commercial drones to cut down on delivery times for goods, even perishable food, especially under tough circumstances.
海上风浪比较大的情况下，在海岛场景它可能会停航，就会导致这些物流以及民生用的蔬菜、水果，然后我们这些可以克服这些一些某些特殊的场景下，可以去一个配送。
Chinese firms have been doubling down on their dominance in the global drone industry, eyeing the low-altitude economy as a major engine for growth. Last month, the first regular drone delivery service in Beijing launched one to deliver food over the Great Wall. Over 30 other drone routes are already running elsewhere, including Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. China's been racing to develop its tech capabilities in a fierce competition against the United States. U.S. President Joe Biden has largely blocked advanced American chips and other high-tech equipment from getting to China, to keep Beijing behind in what both superpowers see as potentially transformative technology, like artificial intelligence and quantum computing. But in manned and unmanned aircraft tech, China has forged ahead. Aside from delivery drones, firms are also betting big on aircraft to transport individual commuters.
Once the economic and safety and comfortable performance be improved, it's gonna scale up very fast.
With local firms getting more drones off the ground, China will have to consider how to coordinate and regulate low-altitude aircraft as innovators push to get their city to become China's first in the sky. Ethan Chen and Joyce Sen for TaiwanPlus.
And we'd like to thank you for joining us here on What's Up Taiwan. Finally, watch as these competitors send pucks flying up to 300 kilometers per hour. It's a centuries-old sport from Switzerland called Hornissen. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.